You call in, you get 3 minutes to say anything you want on any subject, and you're guaranteed nobody's going to interrupt you. And one talk show host says, well, we don't run a democracy here. Because that's what I would like. Give me 3 minutes every day. If those people get 3 hours a day, I'll never get 3 minutes. Because if you can stomach Rush Limbaugh, you can stomach anything. And if he can get to put out his nonsense, I should be able to put out something along the religious lines, because the religious people also have call-in shows. So it's been a long battle. And it's looking a little bit better. I do have a program on Sunday evenings. It's a program on freethoughtmedia.com where people write to me on the chat room. And we get some pretty good discussions going there. All the problem there is that they want to go into topics extraneous to what I'm discussing. But by and large, they're mostly a sympathetic audience. I don't think too many people. I'd like to be on a regular radio station where I would have some people who are against me. So at any rate, to summarize here, I think you all pretty well got a good idea of where I'm coming from. If you go into the Bible, and I think I see some of my former subscribers out here. If you really delve into the Bible, you'll see that the book is a maze, a mass, a veritable labyrinth of contradictions, inconsistencies, inaccuracies, poor math, bad science, erroneous geography, false prophecies, immoral comments, and a multitude of other problems too numerous to mention. It may be somebody's word, but it's certainly not the word of a perfect being, God. As I've said so many times, the Bible has more holes in it than the back door street. From all of the above, that I have presented, you can see that the biblicist is in the same situation as that which existed in the Garden of Eden. In the Garden of Eden. After all, they don't have much of a peace, and as you remember in the Garden of Eden, Adam blamed Eve, Eve blamed the serpent. The serpent didn't have a leg to stand on. In a society dominated by Scripture, we're certainly in one. And the Bible's influence, it's not hard to see that those of a rational frame of mind, such as those in this audience, should do what Adam and Eve did when they were expelled from the Garden of Eden. Went out and raised Cain. That's what we should do. Okay, enough. I appreciate your time, please. I'm getting a little hoarse. Okay, I guess
I'm one of those liberals who's all over the place. I got a question for you that I think is relevant because it seems to me that you have singled out Christianity for special scrutiny. It represents something less than a third of humankind, and I didn't hear you say anything about any of the other religious writings. I think you touched briefly on the Quran. Anyway, here's my question. In first and early 2nd century Palestine, there were a lot of Jewish sages and leaders, and I'll name just a few. There was Judas the Galilean, Simon of Samaria, Theudas, John the Baptist, Simon Bar Jorah, John of Gishala, Eliezer ben Yair, and Simon Bar Kokhba. Those and many, many more are long dead and forgotten. Why do you suppose a religion grew up around the single figure of Jesus of Nazareth? Not only grew up around that figure, and only that figure, but in 300 years was the dominant religion of humankind and remains so to this day. Can you give me an answer as to why that phenomenon occurred?
well, there's a lot of politics in religion. I think it was to the advantage of the powers that be at that day and age to advance that particular religion. They found it was the most effective in controlling the masses. In fact, I have a separate book that I wrote. It's called Crux Christianity, in which I go through and show how the Bible and the phrases, especially the New Testament, there are many phrases in there that can be used to support the control of millions of people very effectively. I can't think of a religion that does a better job of keeping slaves as slaves. But promising them heaven and someplace as opposed to the hell they have now. Things of this nature. I just think it was a political decision by the religions, by the religious leaders. Constantine fell to Christianity. Why? Well, because he thought it was a politically expedient thing to do. However, you're getting into somewhat of an extra-biblical type topic. Normally I don't get into those type of discussions. I do almost entirely stay within Scripture. Because the reason is because first thing I ask myself is, if I'm learning this, what effect is it going to have on others? How can I use it? Is it useful? And if I can't see any use to it, I'm really not interested in learning. I know I had a person call me up on my radio show the other night and wanted to know about the Apocrypha. And he wanted to go into this big discussion of the Apocrypha, the extra-biblical writings and so forth. And I told him, I said, well, I haven't studied the Apocrypha that closely. I don't intend to, because most Christians are not concerned with it. People come up to your door, they're not going to have an Apocrypha in their hand. They're going to have a Bible. That's what they're interested and concerned with. So, and to go back to the first part of your question, what about the other religions of the world? I focus on Christianity because that's what affects us overwhelmingly in this room. I'm not concerned with Hinduism or Confucianism because I don't see that doing me any damage or any consequence. It's that simple. It's a practical decision. If you want to learn about Confucianism or Taoism or something else, go ahead. I have no problem with that. But I'm not going to. I got a real battle here on my hands. To put it in simple terms, we got a war. Pat Buchanan got up before the Republican Convention and says there's a cultural war going on in this country. Everybody jumped on him. Well, he understated